since you brought up the Eraserhead baby, I didn't send this meme to either of you because I understand the boundaries that we have around Eraserhead, and that if ever we're going to talk about the first David Lynch movie, it's going to have to be like under duress and things like that. But we're not going to do that. That's not what I'm proposing or what I'm saying. But I found a great meme that was like Haribo Eraserhead babies.
Oh, God.
They did a pretty good job approximating what those horrible, ungodly candies would look like.
I feel like those would feel like your Rocky Mountain oyster experience.
Yeah. I mean, they would have to, right? It would be again.
They would
back
be more
to
like jerky.
Yes, it would be back to the we found an old mummy, let's eat the mummy jerky kind of situation.
Ugh.
Sarcophagus juice and mummy jerky.
I want to drink the sarcophagus juice.
I'm just gonna go throw up now.
Haribo's already like gelatin, right? So it's got horse hooves and shit in it anyway.
You could easily jellify the sarcophagus juice. I'm less confident in the process for doing it to the Eraserhead baby, but scientists can figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, that's why they exist. We all know science was founded specifically to figure out how to solidify the Eraserhead baby into a kind of gelatin.
I mean, it was their greatest accomplishment.
It's true. Sure. It's true.
Yeah.
Nobody ever talks about how like there were no Eraserhead babies until the movie Eraserhead, when David Lynch nobly demonstrated that the scientific method was in fact not only correct, but entirely capable of creating amazing things.
Gross.
It was perfect, so there hasn't been one since.
It's true. It's true. Yes.
Like, well, we did it.
Thank God.
Yeah, just like Dolly the sheep, right? How many other sheep have you heard that have been cloned lately? Like zero. They did it once. It kind of worked.
I think they kept doing it.
Yeah, that's fair.
We just
they
don't know
did
their
do
name.
it to Barbara Streisand's dogs.
Yes.
Oh.
She requires that, though.
Yeah.
She was like, I
clone
love this
mouse?
dog. Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to need a price check on clones.
I think you're not going to like it.
Can listeners write in?
I think the price check is going to... Do you
have
remember when price
Streisand
checks
money?
used to involve an actual like light and siren thing? Do you remember when department stores used to do that? Like Kmart would be like, hey, this is a Kmart sale and we're just going to surprise people. The light's flashing. Come over here and buy this thing. Yeah.
Weird.
Was that another time? Is that a time before we timed?
It was Land Before
I feel like
Time,
Nate's older than us.
Yeah. No, it was...
I feel like I've seen it on TV.
I think that was in the 90s that happened. Because for a window of time, when I was a youth, we were a proper society. And we would not just put sale up and leave the same price as normal price. We would actually like, well, let's turn on a light. And if we're going to trick people, at least like, let's make it festive.
Let's celebrate it.
That's a more beautiful time.
Exactly. Do you remember what my brilliant segue was earlier? I wish I could go back and check what I
Something
had said.
about killing something.
Oh, beautiful time. It was in response to something Chelsea said.
Yeah.
I don't say anything. I made the sound of a lamb. Silence of them.
Yes. Perfect. I have to leave that in.
Oh, no.
You know what else is silent?
Okay.
People at home watching the first televised trial.
Good job.
Because you can't talk to the TV.
Yo, the hell I can't.
It was a long time ago, and the TV can't hear you.
Fine. You don't need somebody to hear you to talk.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I watched this trial and shouted at my computer the whole time.
Yeah, no. And Chelsea, you're fully right, because if we needed to be heard to talk, this podcast would not exist.
Stop making that joke. We have listeners. They love us.
We do, but I have to kind of neg them a little bit so they like us more.
No, don't put that energy into the world. Manifest many ears listening.
So many ears.
Okay, I was
so
like,
many.
oh no, teeth and
Just
ears.
a bag
now.
of them.
Yeah. We're just manifesting a
talking
biblically
about Ed
accurate
Gein
angel.
now.
It's just all
With
teeth and ears.
Oh, God.
Like an
I thought
ear
it was
bandolier.
eyes. What are we doing?
No, it is all eyes, too. Ahoy, listeners. This is Debut Buddies. It's a fortnightly podcast about firsts. My name is Nate, and I'm one of the buddies.
I'm Kelly. I'm an additional buddy.
I'm Chelsea. I'm the other buddy.
And oh boy, you know, crime happens. And when there's bad boys, we often ask, what you gonna do when they come for you? Well, usually there's a trial, especially if they have enough evidence to actually do anything about it and don't have all of government infrastructure bought out to prevent them from seeing any sort of responsibility for their actions, which would never happen. That's fiction and completely implausible, just riffing.
Satire.
Satire.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about our topic for this episode. We're going to dig into the first televised trial, because what if not only you were on trial, but people were watching, and they weren't just right in front of you using their eyes, they were all over the place, also using their eyes.
And not
You're
just
describing
through...
televised? Is that what we're...
Yeah.
Should we
I
describe
think so.
trial?
Yeah. Okay, so remember when you got McAfee that one time, and you had a 30-day trial, and then it expired, but they kept asking you to renew it forever.
That's exactly
It's
what
like
we're talking
that.
about, and nothing else.
Yeah, no,
right.
we're just talking about...
The first time people put...
We did sort of already
Virus.
cover McAfee.
Yeah, there's a...
Go listen to our episode on the first computer virus for more thoughts on McAfee.
Yeah. Or the first Vine episode for the first time that someone watched someone have a McAfee trial on their computer. Right? 'Cause
Probably.
That's where you would put it.
It's like...
I'm trying to remember. Anyway, have you said it? Ted Bundy's murder trial for the Chi Omega.
It could also be some other people. This is what's fun. I have a long...
That's true.
I have a long and
also
interesting
have a long
list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chelsea?
so we can call this the first nationally televised trial?
No.
No? Okay,
You can
keep
call
going.
it maybe-
Tell me more.
Well, here's what's tricky. There is another nationally... So, my understanding, Chelsea, correct me if I'm wrong. Bundy's trial might have been the first nationally televised portions of trial.
Yes.
But it was not the first fully televised one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because the first fully televised trial was Pamela Smart.
Mm-hmm.
And that was for
Like
all
1591.
14 days. Yeah. All 14 days in 1991 were televised. And she was found guilty of committing murder in the death of her husband.
Conspiracy to murder? Because she didn't kill him, right?
Conspiracy to commit murder, accomplice to first. Yeah. So, she had her hubby killed. Now, his name was Gregory with 3 G's.
I don't know. I don't recall.
That's a lot of G's.
Yeah, he
lot
did
of
get a free
Gs.
drink based on our last episode.
It's true. We're talking Greg.
I forget everything.
Greg's with 3 G's. It's fine.
minute.
I just thought about it for a long time, and I was like, man, there aren't a lot of Gregs with 3 G's that I know. They're always 2 G's.
Yeah, I only know 2 G's total.
Yeah.
Right? This was a time where 3G wasn't even in existence yet. So this guy Greg has 3 G's in his name.
You're doing that.
And then there's 5 G's later. What would Pamela Smart do to 5
Greg,
G's? Yeah.
Maybe you double up at the start too. Good Greg.
Good Greg.
Sorry, Greg.
You might need to add a vowel in just for fun. Gregog. Anyway,
Okay.
look, it's a complicated thing. There are a lot of trials that also fall into this. So there's that Pamela Smart trial. The other thing that I found that was kind of interesting is there was Billy Sol Estes in Texas.
Oh, 1955.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was... I have 62.
Oh, shit. I'm
could be around,
thinking of a different one.
But yeah, so...
Maybe crime was 55 and television was 62.
Because apparently Texas made constitutional history by being like, no, televisions can totally check out this criminal trial. So they televised this thing. this Billy Sol Estes was being tried for bribing agriculture officials
Oh, yeah.
and running basically a Ponzi scheme to grift farmers. So he was selling farmers ammonium tank leases for fertilizer, and then they would never be able to use enough fertilizer to make the cost of the lease work. So he would just slowly bankrupt them, and then he would get them to default on their crops and land, and then he would take their stuff.
Lame.
Yeah. This was a time when
That guy sucks. Guilty. Death penalty. I don't believe in the death penalty.
So, the funny thing, so they appealed the case all the way to the Supreme Court because of the national television coverage, and the Supreme Court was like, well, yeah, it was on TV, so like this is unprecedented. We're overturning this. Cool times, right? The Supreme Court's always been a great idea.
Yeah.
So this was big Supreme Court, not state Supreme Court.
I believe it was big, yeah.
Okay. Is that how we differentiate it? Big. It's the big Supreme Court.
Not the Texas Supreme Court.
Right. Okay. Big one. That's a big one.
So there's this period of time following 1965 into the mid 70s where pretty much everywhere was like, whoa, no more televised trials. They did all these prohibition things. And only Colorado and Texas allowed them during that period of time.
Freedom, baby. Pew, pew.
That's right, which is how we're going to get into the other thing. Through the mid 60s to the mid 70s, no one did.
And were there any laws put in place about that?
There was one in 1946 that was put in place. It was hold on. I have something about the pasty past. 1946 Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 53 is what it's called, which doesn't allow cameras or recording devices inside of a courtroom.
There it is.
So when did that get repealed so that this case in the 60s, this farmer swindler, was able to be?
It was still allowed by this, like states could choose, and then also your judge could choose whether or not it was okay. Like multiple people had to agree that it was chill to broadcast it. But that is where I had a lot of confusion in my research. I was like, why was this one okay? Because this rule was still happening, and like the one we're going to get to that we're going to probably talk about more is that the state Florida Supreme Court was like, let those cameras in.
You know what they're like.
So basically like the note I had was that in 1981 there was a U.S. Supreme Court decision. Chandler v. Florida was the trial, and that basically was like, oh hey, look, televising trials is actually fine. Let's just do that. Like they made a sweeping sort of pronouncement that it was okay.
In Florida. Is that part of their sunshine state laws? Or is this a separate thing? Do we know? Sorry, I don't know why I'm like, tell me more about the laws. So the sunshine laws in Florida are why the Florida man meme exists. It's not that crazier shit happens in Florida. It's that journalists have more access to reports than they do in other states.
That makes sense.
So the minute something pops off, journalists have that information in Florida. And so they write about it and we get Florida man. Cool. So this seems like a natural pairing to that, or at least maybe not like literally, but like spiritually. It feels like a cousin to that. I don't know.
Heck yeah. I think it is. I think look, it's a Florida thing, it's a Colorado thing, it's a Texas thing, and then it's eventually a whole nationwide thing. And it's sort of this
Yeah, I mean it's still illegal.
It's probably that you have to agree.
You have to agree to it. But in 91 they did the experimental one, and that's why the smart one. But it was only from 91 to 94, and then they stopped allowing cameras in the thing. Right. So the judge can allow them, but I think it's still that's why you still have the courtroom.
You can't just set up shop in there for sure. Yeah, it's mostly like
you guys can. This is a visual podcast.
Yeah, Chelsea's doing a court. Well, it's not a stenographer. That's the person that records the thing. It's just the sketch artist.
Oh, now I'm doing the stenographer.
Now she's doing the stenographer, which looks a little bit like T-Rex. It's very cool
because it has the long things. It's not a normal keyboard.
No,
it's weird.
It's a tall cash register looking typewriter.
Yeah, it looks like a cash register.
Yeah, because we buy law here. You guys we're all clear on that, right?
It's true. Yeah.
It's not words, it's money. But yeah, so let's talk about the first nationally televised trial that existed.
Oh,
Which
I have no
is?
information
Which
on that.
one is
I have
that?
information on old ones.
Oh, well, this is the 1979 Ted Bundy trial. Is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's the one I have info on. You don't have info on
I
that,
have no
Chelsea?
info on that. No.
Okay, then
Great.
tell me about the earlier ones.
Oh, mine's about I was gonna do a fun thing about the first broadcasted trial.
Yeah, let's talk
Hit
about
me
that. I
with
have notes
it.
on that
Yeah.
too.
That's Scopes versus State or Scopes versus Tennessee, also known
monkey
as
trial.
the monkey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what is it? Say it
the
again.
Monkey Scopes trial. Scopes monkey. There's a monkey.
Scopes monkey trial. Yeah.
Tell me more.
It is so in 1925. In 1925, in March 1925, they passed the Butler Act, which said you cannot teach evolution in schools. And this is in Tennessee. So
what year?
1925.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in March of 1925, this passed. So then the ACLU was looking for somebody who got fired or had been impacted by the Butler Act. And they found Mr. Scopes, who ended up getting fired.
John T. Scopes.
I could, thank God you have the entire name because I did not. And he taught it in high school biology. But something that is bonkers is the actual book that is mandated by the state is called a civic biology that taught evolution.
Yeah.
So the book that they were mandated to teach teaches evolution, and they were not allowed to teach it. Yeah,
that's his famous quote. The John T. Scopes famous quote is like, "I don't know if I taught evolution or not. Like I taught the text I was provided by the state for school. If I taught it, I guess I did. But
okay,
it's very it's a very circusy kind of trial because it's a very proving a point trial, and it goes cuckoo bananas."
Yeah, they had two very famous lawyers on both sides fighting each other during this. And there were also books written about this. And he ended up being found guilty. He was fined $100. And it was the first one to be broadcast on the radio. And it was WGN Chicago for $1,000 a day. And they broadcast that.
Wait. What do you mean $1,000 a day?
They were allowed to broadcast it for $1,000 a day. So they had microphones.
They paid licensing rights.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
And then they, in 1967, the Butler Act was repealed, and it was ruled unconstitutional in 1968 by the Supreme Court because of the case Epperson versus Arkansas, which I didn't look more into, but that's when everywhere was allowed. In 1968, that's when everyone was for sure allowed to teach evolution, but not until 1968.
And really only from 1968 to 2008. And then we just gave up on that idea too.
No.
Yeah, there's probably an asterisk there, like in public schools. Like I bet private schools have a whole
different curriculum.
Other bullshit.
Yeah.
I looked it up, $100 in 1925 money. This
$1,700,
is
just about.
Okay.
It's closer to 1800.
Yeah. Well, inflation, baby. Yeah, the lawyers in this are really interesting because the prosecution's lawyer is William Jennings Bryan, who was a 3-time presidential candidate. He never won, obviously, and former Secretary of State. And he was a very soapboxy kind of guy, like really, like this trial features two of the now I'm just a small country lawyer types. Like that's so the vibe is two
I'm
just
so glad
like
you said that.
Big fucking dicked lawyer guys swinging it around over evolution and the idea that this is the death of Christian America if this thing doesn't end in this teacher being prosecuted. The defense lawyer is Clarence Darrow, who was a outspoken atheist and noted sort of loud philosopher guy. So it's kind of almost like if Christopher Hitchens was your defense lawyer for this one time that you said, happy holidays instead of Merry Christmas and everybody jumped down your fucking throat about it. It's really...
Listen, that's a war. Will you please treat it with respect?
F for respects. But yeah, this whole thing is the idea that it was just a fundamentalist argument. The ACLU kind of sort of baited this trial too because I think they were trying to force the issue. There was a lot of pressure against this law passing, and they wanted to just like, well, here, we can take this down really easily. And instead they got this massive weird circus that just results in a huge argument. Let's see. Tennessee Governor Austin Peay, which I guess Austin Peay is also a university in Tennessee.
Wow.
I know that name from March Madness, so they have a basketball team.
Okay. Congrats.
William Jennings Bryan, the conservative lawyer for the prosecution, thanked Peay upon signing the bill into law, saying, quote, "The Christian parents of the state owe you a debt of gratitude for saving their children from the poisonous influence of an unproven hypothesis."
Oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, the civic biology presented in problems was the text. It was a 1914 text, and it had in the book evolution, race, and eugenics.
Yeah.
So we're also like,
oh, good.
Important context for history. Where
the book was bad. We should have not had that book.
Can I tell you guys something crazy?
What?
I passed a sign here in Boulder, Colorado.
Oh no.
I passed a sign on Broadway, downtown, advertising free phrenology tests.
Oh my God. Oh. Yeah, because that shit's coming back around.
If it's free, I kind of want to go in and just see like what the fuck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be like, oh, well, your cranial your brain pan depth is
no. I want to see what they try to sell me.
Oh, sure.
Like, what are y'all peddling?
Yeah,
that you're getting people in with phrenology, and who?
It's probably Scientologists.
God, I don't know. Wouldn't theirs be?
Yeah, they do
sci-fi?
the e-meter thing. They would actually just have you do your reading. Let's see. I'm trying to find if there's any other really interesting facts about Scope Monkey trial, because it is wild.
Wasn't the conservative guy? Didn't he die like 5 days after the trial?
He sure did. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
this whole thing really took it out of him.
Yeah.
I don't want to say karma or whatever.
There was a lot of buzz that because Clarence Darrow was such an outspoken atheist, they're like, well, him being the defense is going to kill this. Yeah. Everybody's going to dislike him because as history is a constant repetition where we never actually move forward, everyone was like, well, this guy with new ideas is never going to work because we need someone who doesn't have old ideas but doesn't really like new ideas either, because that's the only way to get people to be okay with something.
Yeah. Though you'd think like, oh, this other clown is a 3-time failed presidential candidate. Boo. But no, that's always like, that becomes moot when the other guy's an atheist, right?
Yeah.
At least in Tennessee in 1925.
H.L. Mencken, who was writing for the Baltimore Sun at the time, was covering this trial actively. It was broadcast live on the radio, but obviously we had regular journalists in there. So Mencken is the one who's responsible for the monkey trial moniker, as well as calling scopes the infidel scopes in articles.
That's pretty cool.
That's
a cool name.
It is fun, right? The infidel scopes.
How did he turn out? He got fired and he had to pay $2,000.
Yeah, he ended up founding a mouthwash business. It's very popular.
Oh, alcohol based? Because that's not good.
No, I don't think he actually created Scope mouthwash, but that would be fun if he did.
Oh, I see what you were doing.
Yeah. You'll see what I did later too.
Oh no!
So during the trial, they had questioning around the Book of Genesis and asking whether Eve was actually created from Adam's rib and where Cain got his wife and how many people lived in ancient Egypt. They really went deep with this trial.
And what did they decide about the rib thing?
Yes. And maybe, and then 5,000.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I missed what the middle question is, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was either.
So, Darrow was trying to suggest that stories in the Bible couldn't be scientific.
Where did Cain get his wife?
Yeah.
Sorry, start over?
Darrow was saying that these are examples of how the Bible can't be scientific, right? And you shouldn't be treating it as if you're teaching science with what the Bible says in stories. And the quote that I have here is him telling William Jennings Bryan, "You insult every man of science and learning in the world because he does not believe in your fool religion." It went hard. This went real hard. 1925.
Those are some good pull quotes.
Bryan responded by saying, quote, "The reason I'm answering is not for the benefit of the superior court. It is to keep these gentlemen from saying I was afraid to meet them and let them question me. And I want the Christian world to know that any atheist, agnostic, unbeliever can question me anytime as to my belief in God, and I will answer him." What's fucked up about this trial is it's not like Scopes isn't really in this trial. This is these two men arguing about each other and their faith and their perspectives on faith. So it really is like the late 90s, early 2000s, and it's just watching Hitchens or Richard what's his face? What's his last name?
Dawkins?
Yeah, thank you. Yelling at
I thought it was a different
right?
one. I thought we were going for the other side, and I was trying to figure out
No, it would be like those two guys being on Bill Maher and arguing with Tucker Carlson or fucking who knows. Like it's a very
insufferable.
Yeah. Darrow was quoted to say, "We have the purpose in this trial of preventing bigots and ignoramuses from controlling the education of the United States."
Ooh, ignoramuses.
Right?
Ooh.
Love it. Love it.
Is he still alive? He'd probably be sad.
Yeah, he'd be real sad.
He'd be so sad.
Yeah.
So sad.
He'd be very bummed. It's good that he's
He'd
dead.
be like, "This is what I was talking about."
He'd be like, "I'm over 100 years old and this is what I was talking about." In addressing the "where Cain got his wife" question, William Jennings Bryan said that he would, quote, "leave the agnostics to hunt for her." But these are the types of things that dug-in religious folks will say sometimes. And this is not to make a blanket statement about people of faith, but to say that when people are defending religion as being truth, they tend to give you the same answers that someone who's like a Trumper does. They're like, you should do your own research.
Yeah, there's a difference between I think that there is a lot of, how do I say this? I think that there's a lot of truth in the Bible, but not a lot of facts in the Bible.
Yeah. In the same way that
Does
there's
that
a
make
lot of truth
sense?
in a lot of books and art. There's
Exactly.
a bunch of truth in a painting. It doesn't mean that it's real.
There's truth and beauty in works of fiction.
Yeah.
End of sentence.
And they're super valuable. So that it gives you a sense of the scopes of this trial, that it was a lot of just yelling and philosophizing. Scopes himself never testified once.
No, you don't usually. You don't usually in a criminal trial, which I guess this is what it was.
Because and part of this was there wasn't a factual issue as to whether or not he had taught it. He taught the text, and the text had evolution in it. So it's not like they needed to debate that. So the trial took 8 days, and the jury only took 9 minutes to deliberate after 8 days. And they were like, "Yeah, the guy's guilty. He did the thing that you said he did." And
we're too tired. Don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so he was imposed that fine that was the equivalent of $1,800-ish dollars. And Scopes was given the opportunity to speak to the court about why they shouldn't impose the punishment on him. And what he said was, quote, "Your Honor, I feel that I have been convicted of violating an unjust statute. I will continue in the future, as I have in the past, to oppose this law in any way I can. Any other action would be in violation of my ideal of academic freedom, that is, to teach the truth as guaranteed in our Constitution, of personal and religious freedom. I think the fine is unjust."
Okay. I love that. I love that for a couple reasons. One, I think that was noble, a noble stance for him to take. Two, I love that he went, "I don't think that you should punish me, and I will do it again."
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Especially because it's in a trial where it's religion's dumb. No, religion is truth. And then this guy's like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. This is all stupid. And I'm going to keep teaching the thing that's reality. Like, I will continue to live in reality. Is that cool with everybody? Okay, see you later.
Yeah, like y'all have your heads in the clouds talking about ideas, and I'm just here to talk about science.
And then, William Jennings Bryan dies 5 days after the trial concludes. And I wrote this, I copied this from Wikipedia because it's an interesting line, and I did not substantiate it further, but I just like the ring of this. Quote, the connection between the trial and his death is still debated by historians.
Oh, I don't think that you need to check that. That rings true to me.
I just think it's interesting, the idea that like everybody's like, gosh, do you think that he died because of the trial? Or do you think it might have been something unrelated to the trial, but that maybe he was riled up? It's fun.
I think he was probably riled up, right?
Oh yeah.
Now I'm entering the debate. A new historian has entered the chat.
I mean, it would be interesting if he died because Darrow had so shaken his faith that he was like, I don't have anything to live for anymore. This was like my thing.
Or maybe God does exist.
He got raptured?
But doesn't care for that attitude.
Oh, fair.
Was like, get the fuck up here.
Yeah. He could have been celebration raptured, or he could have been punish raptured. I don't think people talk about that enough. Everybody assumes that the rapture is going to be like, well, all the good people of faith get whisked away to heaven. It's like, maybe you're getting a talking to. Did you ever think about that?
You're getting a lecture, my dude.
How often does dad yell down from the master bedroom upstairs and tell you to get up there when he's in a good place?
Right.
Especially when he's been absentee for 2,000 plus millions of years and is fake.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very go talk to your imaginary father. Wait until your imaginary father gets home.
He's getting imaginary cigarettes, but he'll be right imaginary back. So that was a radio one. The first nationally televised trial was Ted Bundy in 1979. So he, if you're not familiar, Ted Bundy is a very handsome and charismatic serial killer rapist.
What?
And he was tried and convicted for bludgeoning, mutilating, and strangling 4 sorority sisters in Tallahassee, Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why he was in Florida. Why?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Not only.
I don't know a lot about Ted Bundy,
you got
guys.
Okay.
Here we go.
Now it's Kelly's time to talk.
I thought he was in Washington for a bit, right?
He was.
He was also in Colorado, where he escaped imprisonment and ran away for like 4 months.
I was going to say good for him, but nope.
No, pretty bad for him. And
slippery.
Worse for those women in Florida because he escaped prison in Colorado and went to Florida and killed those women within like the first week that he was there.
Yeah.
He's got a problem. Yeah. He's dead. Is he alive?
You're right.
He's dead.
No,
he was
executed. They executed him.
He was finally executed.
I'm against the death penalty as well.
Right. Yeah. I'm against it.
Yeah.
It is, however, hard to, mourn this man's death.
Yeah, no. Look, I think that
we didn't have to make it happen, but let's
take a step back. Like,
what's done is done.
The death penalty is a bad thing because it doesn't. Yeah. I think for one, fundamentally, it doesn't prevent the things that it's designed to, right? Like advocates for the death penalty are like, well, people won't kill if they're afraid of dying themselves. It's like, no, that's actually not why people do any of the things that they do. So
they do it all the time.
It is
if that were the case,
it's not
we
a
would no longer
thing.
have murder. Like,
yeah. and it also doesn't. It doesn't actually sort of create restorative justice or retribution in the way that we want it to. Like most of the time, the murderer gets killed, and it's not like the family goes like, finally.
I think sometimes they do.
Sometimes it does.
My bigger problem is the innocent people who get put to death.
Yeah.
That's the bigger problem for me.
Even the ones whose the family has been like, please let them go. I'm pretty sure it's not them. That just happened.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that was just months ago in 2024 when there was someone maybe in Oklahoma who was executed.
There are multiple people in the past year.
Where there's just like, hey, look, there's mounting evidence that all of this stuff was fabricated or incorrect or handled improperly. And they're like, come on, Governor so-and-so. And he's like, I'm a dick.
Nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah.
So what's wacky about Ted Bundy's fully televised trial is he represents himself in court in this one.
That's cute.
He sure does.
So if you've ever seen Three's Company,
does.
where Jack has 2 dates at the same time, imagine Ted Bundy running between the witness stand and the table of the defense, back and forth,
and referring to himself in the third person.
Yeah.
I saw that he
it's
didn't
a lot of
want
like
it to be televised.
Oh, I'm glad that you saw that.
I just
Did you
read
see
a
any
couple
more
articles,
info?
and I assumed you guys had more information on the actual trial. I read articles around the broadcasting of the trial, and that he didn't want the big eye out there looking at him or something.
Oh, like
I would
Sauron's
look it
eye?
up.
Like God's eye?
Yeah, I would look it up, but I'm
One does not
Interesting.
simply put Ted Bundy on trial.
Yeah.
I wondered if part of his motivation for defending himself was to be televised, because it's clear. Okay, did either of you watch any of his trial?
I've watched some of it. Yeah. Well, because the thing is, like, he's really he's your classic, very intelligent, very smooth, able. Yeah, he's such a narcissist, but he's good at seeming like he's a charismatic person. And the thing that the thing that becomes obvious is that you're like, well, no, you did these things, and you're talking like a person who's like, well, I mean, it's obvious that someone as handsome and normal as me would never do something like this, isn't it? Witness me.
Yeah, he's very cocky. He's got like a shit-eating grin the whole time he's on the stand.
Ew.
But the thing that's really gross, in my opinion, was watching him interrogate the officer who arrived at the crime scene at the Chi Omega house first. So I don't know. In case people don't know this, maybe the youths don't know about Ted. I guess Chelsea doesn't know about Ted Bundy.
He knows some things, but not a.
Yeah, so he killed a bunch of women.
30
I think
some.
that 30 some is the like official count.
Yeah, that's what he confessed to, but it could be more like 100 or something.
Yeah, it could be quite a few more. He used the ruse of like he would like wear a fake cast and
I did see that.
Have crutches, and he would like,
can you help me load a couch into my car? Yeah.
Or just like books. Can you like help me? And then he'd kidnap these women, rape and murder them, and then continue to have sex with the dead bodies until decomposition took them from him. It is. I agree.
Not great. You don't. Not the way that most people engage in a relationship. It's definitely non-consensual. No. I'll say that much.
Oh, yeah.
And I really want to make that clear just to spite him in death, because that's like something that he really hated that people knew. Like he wasn't so upset about the live rape and murder, but like the.
Well, because he was a narcissist. He didn't want to be.
Yes, thank you. Necrophilia.
He didn't want to be painted
he was
as
like
a real fucking weird, grosso, evil piece of shit.
Yeah, same like the one, to my knowledge, the one murder that we know was him that he would not confess to was the little girl. Aww. It was like a 12-year-old girl, and that's the one that he was like, he wouldn't talk about. So yeah, he had been arrested. He was in prison in Colorado and escaped, went to Chicago. This was around Christmas, and so the jail was like a skeleton crew.
So what was he in prison in Colorado for?
That one was for, I think, rapes, maybe burglaries.
No, I think it was rapes.
I think rapes.
He was in jail awaiting trial for those things.
Okay.
And like snuck out a window or something very like.
So he escaped twice.
Yeah.
Man.
So he escaped twice. The first one, he was defending himself and during the trial, he had access to the law office, and the officer who was meant to be guarding him was like dicking around on his phone or something. I mean,
he wasn't on
his phone. He was at the payphone. He was dicking around at the payphone. And
operator, can you get me the phone number for Facebook?
And Ted Bundy just jumped out a window, and this was in Colorado, in Aspen, and he like broke his ankle when he jumped out the window, but was free for like 7 days.
Damn.
And they finally caught him. He goes back in jail. He escapes again. This is the one around Christmas, and leading up to it, he I'm about to make a reference, and I don't know if it's correct.
Okay.
He either The Green Mile or Shawshank Redemptioned it, in that he
dug a tunnel,
sawed a hole.
Yeah, that's Shawshank. Yeah,
he Shawshanked it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I haven't seen
or
read either of those. So he made a hole in the wall and escaped like through the roof. He was able to like the hole in the wall up
into
like
the
shimmied
ceiling. Up between the wall crawl space into the ceiling. Yeah.
And then escaped through the lead jailer's closet.
Wow.
The head jailer's closet. And the Wikipedia says that he was out to dinner with his wife. I heard that his wife was in the jail and they were having dinner on site. I don't know if that's true. But leading up to that, he was like practicing jumping in his cell to make sure that he was strong enough to do this.
Not break his ankle again.
Yeah. And he lost like 35 pounds so that he could
just
wiggle through the walls. I guess. Well, probably also
probably
not
wasn't eating.
It was probably
too.
mainly.
Oh, yeah,
mainly not eating.
Okay. It's like the new Ted Bundy workout, jumping in your cell.
Yeah.
It's next time we have a pandemic and you have to be in a small space. You just jump.
Just jump.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a bad workout, right? Your quads are your largest muscle system.
I hear the trampolines are big right now.
Oh, they're back?
Trampolines.
Oh,
yeah.
That's good. Hell yeah.
Dunking is also a skill everybody needs.
We love to dunk.
Right?
I don't know what the height is on a jail cell. I doubt it's like a dunking height.
Yeah, it's probably not 10 feet.
Positive.
I feel like that a 10-foot ceiling is not oppressive enough to feel like.
Yeah. It's probably closer to like 6.
Yeah.
7. So he breaks out, goes to Chicago, then straight to California, to Florida. And while he's in Florida, he's like, I'm off crime. I'm not doing crime anymore. Oh. Like, I'm free. They don't know where I am. I escaped. If I just like keep my nose clean,
I'll be okay.
Then I'm good to go.
And then his nose
and then
smelled
like 4 days later,
rape and murder.
He was like, ooh, yum.
Yeah.
Gross. So he breaks into the Chi Omega sorority house. This is Florida State University.
Is it Chi Omega?
I looked it up and it said Chi, but maybe it is Chi. I don't know.
We have a Chi Omega sorority on the Arkansas campus.
Okay. Then let's say it's that. Chi Omega.
Mm-hmm.
And he kills 3 women, then leaves there. This is like fully berserker mode. Mm-hmm. Like he does a lot of damage at the sorority house, flees there.
He was spotted leaving with the murder weapon by one of the other sorority sisters who was not in the house that evening.
He was spotted entering with the murder weapon. Yeah. He brought in a log from like the front yard and bludgeoned these women.
Oh my God.
And did a bunch of other stuff. I don't want to get into it because it's pretty gruesome. The one thing that I do want to mention is that this is one of the first trials where a bite mark was used in conviction.
Oh, gross.
That's the tooth. The tooth is in the details.
But there it is.
Oh.
Yeah. When
he bit one of the women's butts.
And
they were able to match the bite mark that he left on this poor victim's behind to his mouth. And we're like, well, you obviously are the murderer, asshole. Like, how stupid can you be?
Though there's a lot of debate.
There's debate?
No, not at this point in time.
Okay.
At that point in time, at the time of the trial, there was like, is this a real science? How valid is this?
That's fair. Okay.
At that point in time, it was not really an accepted form of evidence in court. And so it was like, oh, but he did it. Look at his teeth. And they were like, oh, but that's a dead body. Does the bruise hold? But like, come on, it matches perfectly. That didn't happen accidentally. Like, come on, use your brain. So just in the trial, And so that's what the big televised trial for Ted Bundy is what is it? Chi Omega?
Yeah.
Yes.
Chi Omega.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Chi Omega murder night. Interestingly, they did it like only 2 of the murders that night are in this trial. And then the remaining murders are in a separate trial. I'm not sure if that one was televised.
Yeah, because he ends up
but that second one is interesting.
He pleads guilty to 3 murders in exchange for a 75-year sentence.
Wait, in which trial? That's got to be the second one.
Yeah, I believe it is the second one, yeah. Because this first one, he just lost flat out trying to defend himself.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And there's just like so many quotes from his lawyers and public defenders being like, this guy would not get out of his own way. Like, he refused to let us do anything. Like, we were like, hey, man, we can at least make a case. It's like, no, I got it. I got this.
And watching the trial, you can see them fucking annoyed with him. He, like, every time they confer, they're like, we can't hear them because I'm watching ABC's footage. Yeah. This isn't like, so I'm far away. But you can see them like tense fingers as they gesture. They're like shaking their heads. They're like, fucking stop talking, idiot. And he won't. He tries to get his court-appointed attorneys removed from the case, which probably was like a gambit to get a mistrial or whatever. But he also was just an asshole and wanted it to be him or no one. Yeah. And so he did go to law school. So this isn't like just you or me trying to do it. Like, he did go to law school. He did not graduate, I don't think.
So I think that we'd probably have the same training. We watch a lot of crime shows.
That's true.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I think we could do it.
And the way the judge keeps having to like course correct him. Yeah, I think we could do an equivalently good job. Yeah. But I don't know, man. He goes up on the stand and just has his attitude. It makes me so mad.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is he has this pompousness to him where it appears as if he's bothered that he has to participate in something so below him. He's on trial and it's like, none of these things apply to me and it's insulting that I'm here.
That's not even how I read it. The way that it seemed to me, here's my example, is when he's on the stand, he's sitting back in the chair, legs crossed, like one leg over the other knee, arm on the back of the chair. He doesn't seem annoyed to me. He seems like, oh, this is cute. Oh, this is this is cute.
No,
sure, I'll go there with you.
Yeah, he's not maybe he seems nonplussed about it. Like this is just so like far not worth his time.
And it's weird. Okay, so here's the thing about this being televised specifically that I have a lot of questions over. I don't even know that I have thoughts on them. So there's a lot of joking around in this trial. Just a lot of joking around. So the lawyers want to show the judge some footage and they're having trouble getting the VHS to play. And while they're trying to get it prepared, the judge is like, well, don't go showing me a soap opera. Ha 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 ha. Everybody laughs. And then it like errors out and just plays a long beeping sound for like a full minute. And then the judge goes, that was very persuasive, which that one did get me. That one was funny.
That's fun.
But then even like, I forgot I was making a point earlier about Ted Bundy interrogating the cop who arrived at Chi Omega. I will come back to that. But while he's interrogating a cop that pulled him over, which is like how he gets caught.
Oh, wow.
He's out and about in the middle of the night after the murders and he gets caught because he just looks suspicious while driving around, I guess. So cop pulls him over. And while he's interrogating that detective, or I guess a beat cop, he is like, I guess at some point in that encounter, the cop had him like stand at the back of the car, asked another police officer to keep an eye on him. And Ted Bundy was like, why did you ask him to watch me? Because he wasn't in custody yet. And the detective takes a beat And Bundy goes, "Is it because you didn't trust me?" And the cop sort of laughs and goes, "Yeah, I suppose I didn't trust you." Like, why are we laughing?
Yeah.
2 women are dead. More than that are dead. But in this trial, 2 women are dead. Yeah. Like, why are we laughing around? Why are we joking around? I don't feel like this is appropriate. Gross. But the thing about him interrogating the police officer who arrived at Chi Omega that night and like encountered the carnage is he interrogates that police officer for so much longer than anybody else. Oh. Like, all of the other investigations are like, or interrogations are like, I don't know, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. This one goes on for what feels like forever. And it's like, and where was her leg?
Oh, no.
And what was the blood like? Like, he's clearly getting off on it. And he's like, his posture changes. Like, can we check if he's got a boner and use that against him? Because I'm pretty sure, like, it's so gross. And can you imagine, like, there's a sorority girl in the room. There was a witness that night, and she's there at the trial. She has to be in there for that? That fucking sucks.
That's so gross.
That fucking sucks. But there was a lot of discussion about whether or not to show news footage in the trial. And that's really interesting and, like, circular.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, whether like reporting on what happened was admissible as evidence of a kind about it, or if it's hearsay because it's a third party talking about the thing.
Right.
Also, yeah, like, should a deviant murder boner be admissible as evidence? I think so. Yeah, I mean, it's obvious what he was doing, right? Like, he's relishing. Obvious. He's running the room because he's got all these men like chuckling with him about all these fuck ups, and everybody's taking it unseriously. And then he's like, "Well, yeah, let's just doing what it would appear Ted Bundy did all the time, which is like, well, let's raise it, let's keep going, let's see how much further this can go," and in just relishing all of it.
Disgusting. And like, I don't know how much of the footage that I saw, none of the evidence was shown.
Okay.
And so I watched the ABC News footage, and I have to assume that they did not nationally broadcast crime scene photos.
Oh, I would hope.
But I don't know for sure, because you can find them today. Yeah. But I don't know if they were...
I would guess that would be like too profane for
right?
that sort of thing, or like local stations would have to make that call, right? Because like affiliate stations would be like, we're not going to show this, right?
Yeah,
we've seen that in recent years. I'm trying to think of an example of what it was, but like affiliate news can be like, oh, we'll mention that, but we're not reporting on it.
Right. Well, and a lot of, I bet, you know what, now that we're really talking about it, I bet not, because part of why Ted Bundy gets romanticized is because people don't know the details of his crimes. Like, they don't know about the necrophilia. I don't think that people know exactly how brutal the murders were. Yeah, probably they didn't show it.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Well, I mean,
very gross.
During okay, yes, it's super disgusting. He gets convicted in that trial. He then goes on to appeal that conviction, because of course he did. So 6 months later, there's a second trial that takes place in Orlando. This is for the abduction and murder of a different young woman.
That's the child.
The child, yeah.
The 13-year-old. What's her name? Leach.
Leach.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's found guilty again after less than 8 hours of deliberation. And they're basically just like, look, we have eyewitnesses who saw him lure her from the schoolyard into a van that was stolen.
Right.
Like,
that was stolen.
The sloppiest possible type of horrible bullshit. And then there's also clothing fibers. Point, and he's like that. Yeah, well, at that point, he thinks he's Teflon.
No, I think he doesn't think he's Teflon. I think he's like, I'm going to get caught at any minute. Like, I gotta do all the rapes and murders. I hope my neighbors can hear it.
So the kicker of this one is, during the penalty phase of that trial in Orlando, Bundy takes advantage of this Florida law that allows for a court-based marriage declaration. So if you're in the presence of a judge and you declare that you want to be married to or are married to someone, it's technically a legal marriage because there's a judge there.
You're married.
So he is questioning this woman who moved to Florida to be near him because she was obsessed. And they basically just testify that she's testifying as a character witness for him, saying how he's really nice and he's really smart and this is all unfair. And he just asks her to marry him while he's questioning her as his own defense attorney. She says yes, and then boom, they're married.
Bingo, bango. We're married. They go on to have a child.
They do.
Even though you don't have conjugal visits on death row.
Yep.
So did he send her sperm?
No, there was an amount of bribery.
Yeah.
I thought he just put it in an envelope, just straight up.
Well, I guess if we're going to use euphemisms, in some way he did put it in an envelope.
Hey-o!
Yeah, she was a character witness in this televised trial as well.
Yeah.
Or maybe not this one, but the appeal. Yeah.
But
Boone.
But he ultimately loses.
I think was her name.
Yeah, Boone is her name. He ultimately is found guilty. He is executed by electrocution on February 10th, 1980.
Yep.
Did which one gave him the death penalty? Which trial?
All of them.
Yeah, he got 3 death sentences. But he appealed and he appealed.
Oh, okay.
And he just kept getting it.
I think that he did just keep getting it. I think that the one that finally killed him, though, was Leach. I think it was that last one.
Yeah, Leach was the nail in the coffin. His daughter, Rose Bundy, was born to Boone on October 24th, 1981, 1 month after I was born, to the day.
Whoa.
Weird, right? Completely.
Do you know her?
Right? I totally. We all of us 1 month apart babies talk to each
that
other.
makes sense.
Is that her real name? We shouldn't know that. I hope she changed it.
I hope so too, because hopefully she's a good person and living her best life and not haunted by all this.
She doesn't deserve.
She didn't get
that
a choose
shadow.
Who had her? So
right, exactly. She deserves a clean slate. There are a lot of deaths with Ted Bundy. The one that really fucking sticks with me is the night of the Chi Omega murders. He attacks another woman. She survives, but she suffers so many cranial injuries that she loses the sense of her body. What's it called? When you have an inner ear infection and you're all it's not vertigo.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not that. But whatever. Close enough. And she was a dancer, so her dance career was ended. I know that fucking sticks with me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right? I'd rather be killed. Oh, sorry to that woman.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think official line of the podcast, Ted Bundy, not a good guy.
Not a good guy.
I don't think so.
But I didn't look at all into how the public received this. Was this this had to have been really intense. This had to have imbued a lot of psychic damage, this trial being televised.
Yeah,
right?
it was 250 reporters from 5 continents covered the trial. And it was the most watched thing for the time that it ran. So it no doubt made a huge impact on people. I think the thing is it's at this point in time, it's this weird novelty, right? It's
for sure.
I think this is sort of the tragedy of media, is that we always think that we're witnessing somehow the last big weird frontier that we're going to cross, right? Someone watched this thinking, "Oh wow, this is amazing and unique," right? And then there's the OJ trial, and then we're watching January 6th on Facebook Live, and it's there's literally no stopping this shit.
God, and in between there, we had Menendez, Casey Anthony, all of this was so public.
And Pamela Smart.
Yeah, Pamela Smart.
And they made movies based on the Pamela Smart thing, one of which
Multiple
was To Die For with Nicole Kidman and Joaquin Phoenix. I don't know if anybody else saw that movie, but I saw it when I was a kid.
Sorry,
shook me up.
It has also a young Joaquin. Wait, no, you already said Joaquin Phoenix, didn't you? Yeah. And did you say Casey Affleck?
I did not.
Also got Casey Affleck.
Is he canceled? Did we cancel him? We
canceled him. I mean, he's kind of canceled, but
shit. Okay.
Yeah, didn't he abuse someone?
He's just
there's
some stuff. There's some stuff.
I'll look it up after this, and then I'll retain it next time. Maybe we already.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
So many people have been canceled. Ted Bundy.
Well, he did that to himself.
The movie also has Matt Dillon.
He did.
Oh,
love him.
Wayne Knight.
Has he been canceled? I don't. Not to my knowledge.
No, I think Matt Dillon's okay. I mean, he's always been like a little whatever, but he's not bad.
But he's not.
He's not bad. Yeah. No.
He's just a little whatever, I think.
Yeah. Wayne Knight. We all know Wayne Knight.
We do not.
Newman from Seinfeld.
Oh, okay.
Got
He's also the computer programmer guy in Jurassic
Newman
Park.
From Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure his name is Newman in that as well.
Kurtwood Smith is in the movie To Die For. That would be Eric Foreman's dad on that 70s show.
Oh, yeah.
As well as the bad guy in RoboCop.
Spoilers.
And Dan Hedaya also in the movie. That's great. Dan Hedaya was Cher's dad on Clueless in the movie.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Oh, wait. I think I'm thinking of the dad in Can You Be...
What?
I'm going to use the wrong word, but you'll get the point. I know that you can be... whelmed. I know you can be underwhelmed, and I know you can be overwhelmed, but can you just be whelmed? That's who I was thinking of. I was thinking of the dad. Yeah. I don't remember the dad in Clueless.
10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, he's the guy.
Yeah.
All right. I'm looking it up.
You'll know him.
Oh, I was going to say.
You'll know him.
I know I will, because I can kind of picture... He's on the tip of my brain. I cannot fully picture him. He is...
Larry Miller.
Yes. Okay, great. Yeah. But yeah, To Die For was a movie I saw because Nicole Kidman is in it. And it seemed like it would be like a really interesting... This is supposed to be like a black comedy sort of thing.
So is that...
Oh.
It's a very dark movie. Like, I remember... I have not watched it since. I probably watched it when I was 14 and was like, oh, I feel not good from watching.
Have you watched any other Gus Van Sant movies?
Yeah, like Elephant and the Psycho remake that he did. The shot-for-shot Psycho remake, of course, I saw.
But he does like things based on real events, but in a weird way.
Yeah, I saw Milk also. He did that.
Oh, I forgot he did Milk.
He also did
Good Will
Hunting.
House that Jack built?
Let's see.
I'm not gonna. I don't know.
He did not. He has done Malanoche, Drugstore Cowboy, My Own Private Idaho, great movie.
Oh, yeah.
Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, not as great a movie, but how do you adapt a Tom Robbins book?
It was Lars von Trier.
Oh,
do you see what happened?
Boom.
Do you see what happened in my brain?
Those names.
I see what happened.
Yeah,
it'll do it.
Yeah.
He also did Finding Forrester, a movie I definitely saw at least 3 times.
I did watch that.
You're the man now, dog. You remember? Anybody else see Finding Forrester?
I'm familiar with YTMND.com.
I did see that, but I...
Yeah. Sean Connery is an old, he's a J.D. Salinger type. He's a famous author who doesn't talk to anybody anymore.
Recluse?
His name is Forrester. And then a young black student at a school in New York meets him. They start a kind of slow, casual friendship. And Forrester eventually like opens up to this kid. And he says, "You're the man now, dog." Because he's being fresh to the kids' slang by saying
dog.
dog.
On YTMND.com?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Classic stuff.
Can I bring up another thing about the Bundy trial being televised?
Yeah.
It's not a music video. I bet there are music videos.
Gus Van Sant did a Hanson music video.
Nice.
Which I did not expect.
That sounds right. Which one? Mbop?
Good Will Hunting? Wait, am I looking at the right thing? Did you already say Good Will Hunting?
I did.
Damn, I wasn't listening. So sorry, Nate.
It's okay. Look.
I think there's plenty of people looking someone up at the same time. To
circle back, there's plenty of people who listen to this podcast, Chelsea, so you don't have to listen to me now.
See, that's the attitude I'm looking for. So the thing that is so striking about the Ted Bundy trial, this was really the first of its kind. And it incited such mob mentality. Mm. Like people, so he was executed at like dawn or something. And people camped out in front of the execution site. Where do they do that? At the jailhouse?
Yeah,
I assume in the death row building. Like, you don't want to transport people a lot after that point. The whole point is to ensure that they stay there, and then they get. Yeah, I mean,
you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, no, I haven't seen it, but I have seen a lot of ghost hunting shows, and I know that they investigate the electric chair.
Do you remember Susan Sarandon, Dead Man Walking? That was a movie. Her with Sean Penn. She's.
I haven't seen a single movie.
Well, she's a death row prison, like what?
Guard,
chaplain.
God, what is
executioner?
What's a lady?
Dancer.
A religion lady?
Chaplain.
Do we not just call her a chaplain?
A nun.
Chaplain,
She's
right?
a nun.
Oh.
She's a nun. I was gonna start yelling Sister Act until we came up with the word. She's a nun.
That would have gotten me there.
She's there to counsel these men before they are executed. Sean Penn is one of them. The movie is called Dead Man Walking because when you walk somebody down the hallway, you go like Dead Man Walking.
Mm-hmm.
Does he play Henry Lee Lucas?
Maybe.
What?
Oh, I'm just thinking about. I don't know. I can't. Probably if it's a movie, but I know Henry Lee Lucas was on death row and like became really close with a nun who became like a character witness, and like
he plays a character named Matthew Poncelet. I'm gonna find out.
Lucas?
You continue with your Ted Bundy thing. I'm gonna find out if he's based on
Henry Lee Lucas, the confession killer. I just thought it was so interesting that they televised this trial, and it brought out the worst in some people. Like they came to his execution, camped out all night, were drinking, were shooting off fireworks. There were like t-shirts to buy that had some catchy phrase on it about him,
or support of him getting
of state murder, of state condoned murder. They're like, well, and then we can talk about all of the women who loved him and did show up trying to get it overturned. That's a really interesting philia. What is it? Hybristophilia. Can't remember necrophilia, but I got hybristophilia on lock.
I couldn't remember
women who love who love like criminals. Not necessarily just women, although they're whatever. We don't need to get into that. Separate topic.
That's another.
Yeah,
first.
I just think it's
we'll do it that later.
It's another first. I just think that it's like really weird and gross and kind of scary that so many people. I mean, it's literally like I'm going to use a word, and I understand the history, the historical significance of it, but it's a lynch mob showing up. Yeah. Like they don't have pitchforks, but they do have fireworks. Like they are celebrating the murder of a man who is very guilty and who committed a lot of crimes. But like, I don't know, I can't.
But yeah, but it's that
just still feels really gross to me.
Yeah, it's that general level where whatever curiosity or excitement comes from these high stake human events leads to people being like, this is a spectacle that I should attend as some sort of event. And it's like, it's not really. This should be the quiet snuffing out of the light of someone who shouldn't be remembered, and we should remember the people who were killed instead of celebrating the crimes and death of this person who's fucking horrible.
And it's like, how much of that, like that wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been televised, you know, like maybe the families of victims would have been there, but it wouldn't have been people traveling from all over the country to go to what amounts to a tailgate party. Like that's weird. Like so many people watched it in their living rooms that it became personal to them. And I do understand that to some degree.
Parasocial relationship with this thing that you probably shouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be so comfortable with this as to want to be near it. You should actually want to be far away from it, because it is the darkest recesses of humanity playing themselves out on both sides of the legal coin, right? Like, the bad guy is going to be killed. Killing in itself is problematic. This whole process is complicated, and celebrating any of it is bad because, again, there's victims, and those victims are people.
And just like taking such pleasure, like having such bloodlust, like, does that not freak you out? Like, if I woke up tomorrow and was like, ooh, we're gonna kill a guy, I would be like, what the fuck? Why am I thinking that way?
Yeah, I mean,
and that's like directly, I mean, that is part of human nature, right? But like this being televised really takes it to a different level. I think, like, so many people were inspired to go celebrate the death of somebody. That's strange. And to be clear, I am fine with celebrating the death of somebody on Blue Sky, like on Twitter.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Like, observe it, be snarky about it, but like, showing up with like your folding chairs and a cooler with sandwiches that you made so that you can like sit back and like, ooh, I hope we can see the sparks and smell him burning. Like, like before the fact, like leading up to it, being like, hooray, let's do it, as opposed to like, I don't know, some horrible nasty monster dying of natural causes and being like, good fucking riddance. Like, that's those feel like different things. Maybe not, though. Maybe I'm making excuses for myself. I think that what you're saying about your practices, and I think valid for a lot of people, is that it's like, hey, acknowledging, marking, clocking, and enjoying the fact that a bad person will not exist in perpetuity is totally reasonable. It's a whole other thing to be like, I would like to determine who the bad people are and murder them, right? Because ultimately, that's the fascistic leaning, right? Like, there's there's the leaning of like, hey, well, we should use our power to kill anybody who is or could be bad, and we should enjoy it, right? That's very Khmer Rouge. That's very like Red Scare. Everything, like, it's just bad.
It just feels
bad.
gross.
It's bad energy.
Is part of it that there's like watching stuff through the TV is usually fictional storytelling. Even like the news is only like an hour long, and they're in small snippets. You don't follow a narrative. You don't follow a story.
Right.
So in the live broadcasting of a trial, you're engrossed in a story. Do you think that they had a hard time like separating what was real from what's not when it comes to that? Because they're like, I don't know, you can get really obsessed with like, I've been very obsessed with movies in my life, TV shows in my life, books in my life. I have gone to midnight releases. I have gone to things like that. It feels like the culmination of a story that they enjoyed, and like the end of it. And like, and I feel like there's also like a community aspect around it. That's like, it
just riling each
it's
other.
It's like a book release event, or
something like that. So it's like,
or like, oh, Taylor Swift's new album's dropping at midnight. Let's all be there. I
think you're right. I think you're totally right.
TV, and it being a story to them now, and being something that they became enthralled with, and just giving them an outlet to go do that. I mean, I wish it was something else, and I feel like they could have, like, there are so many things that can be put out into the world even today that people get very obsessed with, and I go down many rabbit holes to stuff, and I could continue to go down those rabbit holes, but there are rabbit holes in our world currently that I feel like mirror what you're talking about.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think you're totally right. This, like, they become almost divorced from reality. Yeah. It's a character that we're killing, not a human.
Especially the way you're describing him acting. Like, it'd be hard to imagine a real person.
Right, like a real person would be nervous about being on trial for murder. Like, this guy clearly is fake. This is a soap opera. This is something else. Yeah.
Just like that judge didn't want. Don't show me a soap opera.
Exactly.
Oh, can I also read you a fucked up thing that a judge said?
Yeah, do it.
So this is one of the judges. I'm not sure if it was this trial or one of the appeals or one of the other trials, but in one of the cases where he defended himself, the judge said at the end of the trial to Ted Bundy, "Take care of yourself, young man. I say that to you sincerely. Take care of yourself. It is a tragedy for this court to see such a total waste, I think, of humanity that I've experienced in this court. You're a bright young man. You would have made a good lawyer, and I would have loved to have you practice in front of me. But you went another way, partner."
No, no.
So
don't say nice things to them. What the fuck?
Don't say nice things to him. This is a waste of humanity. Talking about Ted Bundy, not all the women he murdered. Like, what the fuck, man? This was Judge Cowart who can get fucked, in my opinion.
But this is very much like the Brock Turner thing, right? Like, you got your whole life ahead of you. You're such a talented lacrosse player, etc. One rape behind a dumpster shouldn't stop you from fulfilling your potential.
Yeah, this is chronic. The system is bad. The system's busted.
What?
Sure is.
Yeah, surprise.
Do you know what's not busted, though?
I can think of a thing.
The MouthGarf Report.
The MouthGarf Report. Open wide for some lasagna.
I hate Mondays.
Okay.
Hooray!
Yay!
Do we all remember our reports that we forgot?
I think
believe
maybe
we
a little
do.
bit.
Yeah. Before we jump into that, so the two murderers that Sean Penn's character in Dead Man Walking is based on are Elmo Patrick Saunier.
The fuck?
And Robert Lee Willie.
That's not the same one.
Those are both incredible names.
They were murderers and rapists in Louisiana.
Wow.
Gross.
Yeah. It would.
I take back my name compliment.
Yeah, you know. I mean, you can have a good name and still be a bad person.
Yeah, I guess that's more of a compliment to their parents.
Yeah,
That's
it's
not
like
so much for
good
them.
job naming your murdered son.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest.
son.
Most murders that I've researched, their parents are not.
The best.
No, they don't. Yeah, they probably put the most effort
Usually
into the
contribute
whole
a little
naming
bit to it.
aspect, and then they quit.
Yeah. It's probably a family name.
Right. So yeah, MouthGarf. I watched two things, one of which is very tooth related, and one that is not so much tooth related. So we'll talk about the non-tooth related one first, because it's a little film.
Hold on. Can I?
Go ahead.
Okay, yes, let's talk about the non-tooth one, and then I want an opportunity to guess the tooth one.
Of course, yeah. The non-tooth one is really more leg related in that they're long legs.
Oh, yeah.
Long legs.
Yes.
Wow, what a!
And how many times have you watched it since then?
I have watched it 1.5 times total.
Okay.
Largely because I went back and scrubbed through to watch all of the things where I was like, did I fucking see that? Like, or just
You did see that.
because some of the
I
things
just
like
replayed Nick Cage's parts.
Including the face?
No, not
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
No, thank you.
not the face.
the face pounding. And again, listeners, spoilers for things we're going to talk about in the MouthGarf Report.
Yeah.
But the face pounding suicide in the interrogation room. Wow. The thing that I rewound a lot was the dolls and the satanic magic orb, mind orb, and things to try to like.
soul.
I just wanted to understand more of what was going on. And I think that's the beauty of the movie, right? Is that you're never going to know fully what's going on with this movie, but you know enough. No. I was, again, pun intended, blown away that very early in the film, her partner is just blasted in the face right away. And he's such a striking looking man that you're like, oh, of course they're going to both be on this ride and he will die later. And it's like, nope, he's not going to be in this movie at all. We found the most like suck-cheeked, chiseled-faced human being imaginable to just be like, don't be silly. It's easy to knock on doors and ask people who the murderer is. Blam! The end.
But he was so weaselly from the beginning, though, that like when it happened, I a little bit okay. We were gonna have to. So I now think that part of why he was killed so quickly is somehow related to Lee Harker's relationship to the devil. Like, I think that he was annoying to her.
Oh,
and so
she manifested
the devil was
his...
like, fucking kill him.
Gotcha.
Like, get him out of here.
Yeah. See, I saw him as
He's
a
not going to help her get
traditional...
stuff done.
No, he's going to annoy
stand in the
her
way.
and be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, because he
doesn't support her the way that she deserves to be supported. Which I agree with.
Sure, yeah.
Hail
yeah.
Satan.
I mean, important part of the movie is it does say to support some daughters like they need to be supported.
I guess all daughters, really, right? We should support all daughters.
Yeah, kind of. By stealing their familial infrastructure through murder suicide.
You don't have to do that. I don't know that I would call that support.
Yeah. I mean, unless we're going to go to a rugged individualist thing where, like, supporting is by putting you through the challenges that make you strong.
Oh, gross.
No.
That's true. This is a hard... Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yes, because I saw killed partner guy as more of a, like, ducky / whatever the sidekick is, who he's interested in her romantically, she's never going to be interested in him romantically. They sort of do like a brother sister mentor mentee thing, and then eventually he does something vaguely heroic and dies, and that was sort of what I was predicting, right? From
from
the
a
archetype.
lot.
You know what I'm hearing? Is that Nate's never been a woman in a male-dominated workforce. Because
I mean, I have.
Because I got something else entirely from him.
Well, I mean, he's also like a doofus in a, like, anyway, look, it's not the most important
thought he was
part.
sort of a Ted Bundy type.
Yeah,
Okay,
he didn't
okay.
feel endearing to me.
All right.
No
He lacked
endearing.
endearment.
Very like, I mean, narcissist for sure. Sort of. He would have taken credit if they had gotten that bag instead of him getting murdered. He would have been like, I did it.
I would have. I assumed that, you know, she has some kind of clairvoyance or something, right? Like she has,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I assumed that he was going to be the, like, that's not real person who would get convinced.
You
over
were
time.
expecting a Mulder, Scully,
a little bit,
gender
Look,
bend,
and that's because you go into this movie cold. All you have is, like, you have a very 70s, 80s era home movie thing to start, and then you're right in this thing, and they're knocking on doors, and then boom, he's killed, and then now it's time jump, and she's doing other stuff, and we're going through it. But generally speaking, like, this movie is really well done, really cool, very interesting vibe, very haunting ending, because you're sort of left with the idea of, like, well, are they free of this?
What?
Are they free of this? Or is she now going to be responsible to take on kind of her mother's and Longlegs' role to continue doing this thing? Because someone has to, right? Like, you don't quite...
Do they? What do you mean someone has to?
Well, because you don't know how the relationship between the controlling power of the doll works on the people who are the subjects of the dolls.
That's
you just
true.
know her doll was killed, but you don't necessarily know that frees her of any obligation to Satan or any thrall of Satan, right? And the doll seems to be capable of just making people do whatever the fuck. There's no commands, there's no conversation, there's not, you know, it's just like, oh, now Blair Underwood is going to just walk into the kitchen and stab his wife to death because the doll says so.
Yeah. It's very peculiar. Have you listened to our episode of Never Show the Monster on Longlegs?
I'm pretty sure that I listened to it well before I watched the movie, but I forgot everything.
Why would you do that?
That's what I do, though. I listen to so much that it all goes in and out, and I watch the movie with completely fresh eyes. I was like, I know this is kind of a Silence of the Lambs-y sort of setup, sort of concept.
Yeah.
And I know that Nicolas Cage is in it. And I Googled to see what he looked like in it, and I was like, "Oh, that's not that weird looking." I mean, it's not weird, but I was like, I was expecting something more akin to the other movie I'll talk about. But I didn't get that. I got like a fairly like, oh, this is kind of like you could see Nick Cage in there.
Because he's just a guy.
Yeah, he's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
Just a fucking weirdo living in your mom's basement. Making murder dolls?
Making murder dolls?
That's fun.
Oh.
We all got to do what we got to do for capitalism, guys.
God, that's
right.
true. God, that's true. And he's just
gotta
making
make murder dolls.
a buck where he can.
It's
perfect movie, perfect film.
Yeah.
That's our boy Osgood Perkins. He's got a new movie coming out very soon, The Monkey.
Oh yeah, the
that
Stephen
looks
King adaptation.
like a wild ride.
Yeah, I saw the poster for that after I was seeing the other movie I'm going to talk about. I'm going to continue teasing it.
It's a new one?
Teeth. Got it. Nosferatu.
Oh, I haven't seen it, so we
Nosferatu.
can't talk about it.
I won't talk about it that much. But yeah, I really liked about Longlegs the way that like the ending feels unsettling. All in all.
Yes.
Like it's satisfying, but it's unsettling. The whole concept of like your mom tried to do a thing to protect you and ended up spending her entire life like aiding and abetting a supernatural serial killer. It just adds a layer because
and then go on.
Well, it's also interesting to me because it's a movie that's interrogating the nature of faith and how we address it, right? The idea that like the most faithful person can be manipulated to do horrible stuff if you give them the right stakes, which seems
in some ways easier. They can be manipulated
well, because
more
they
easily.
believe in the nature of absolute good and evil and all these things to the extent that it allows them to go like, oh, well, if you're telling me that voting for this person is actually what God wants, I'll do that regardless of what the person says or does, which is not at all related to the movie, but just kind of a wild example I pulled out of thin air.
Creative. And I think that there's another aspect to it. I think about this all the time as just it feels like a splinter that I can't get out. Like I can't figure out one way or the other how I feel about it. But in the end of the movie, sorry to people who have not seen Longlegs, it's like moments before the actual end of the movie. So Lee raises her gun to her mom and says like, don't make me do this, mom, or something equivalent, whatever. It doesn't matter. But she calls her mom. And as her mom raises the knife, she says, don't call me, and then she gets shot. So it's like this question of like, how long is she, like, was she going to say, mom, don't call me mom? I don't see what else she could have been saying. And if that's the case, then why was she saying that? Has she literally been supplanted by somebody else? And if so, how long ago? If not, was that just like, don't call me mom in this moment when I'm having to do this big evil thing? And so in her mind, she's like split it into two roles, like I'm mom when we're at home, but I'm murder mom here.
Yeah. Short legs, maybe you could say.
Yeah. So, I
want to rewatch.
There's a lot of big questions in that movie.
I want to rewatch it because I feel like there's a lot of subtlety that you can't see the first time because you're paying attention to the plot.
Yes.
And if you have some of the plot kind of pinned down, you'll notice more of that stuff.
And on my sixth watch, that's the first one where I got stoned for it. And boy, I was like, I have so many thoughts and ideas.
Oh my God.
I'm really like, I'm so infatuated by the idea that you create a doll in a likeness of a person and you put a high density metal orb inside it that is emitting some sort of satanic signal to control the minds of your immediate family to cause them to kill themselves and not you.
It's high EMF.
And the thing that's, but
you'll learn about it in Ghost Hunters.
And
we can teach you also.
I mean, so you have to tell me, did I miss why? Like what the end game for this is?
That is the question.
Right.
No, you did not miss why.
That's the thing that's plaguing about it is it's like, wait, I mean, because there's no manifesto moment. There's no ethos
Why
moment.
not?
Yeah.
Bingo. Why not? Like we have ideas on it at this point on what the why is. And I think that it's much simpler. Like, I don't think that it's a huge idea. I think it's just simple. But I want you to watch it more and come to your own conclusions.
I will. I think
it's me and Chelsea telling you our ideas.
No, I think it's one of the best movies of 2024.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best horror movies I've seen. Full stop.
Boy, in a long time at the very least.
I mean, it's largely because it's so beautifully shot. It's really well paced. It doesn't there's no waste in it at all. It moves quickly.
Which is crazy because it's long.
Yeah, legs.
It's a long movie, but there's no point in it where I was like, okay, let's get to where we're going.
No, it was enjoyable and propulsive the whole time. Great movie. The other movie that I saw was...
Wait. I have a question for you about long legs. Yeah. What was the first devil you noticed?
What was the first devil I noticed?
Uh-oh. Did somebody not see any devils?
I guess I did not.
Somebody didn't see the devils.
Well, good.
Nate!
Then here we go.
I gotta go watch it right now.
More reason to watch more.
Oh my God. Okay. Have fun.
There's going to be devils in reflections and in picture frames and all over the place, right? That's what's going to happen.
You'll have to find out.
Great. I can't wait. I'm very excited about
that. I think that supports my thesis that it is less complicated than you think it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes a lot of sense because there's a sort of sense of just, hey, look, the bad things happen and there are forces behind the bad things that happen and you don't have to know why because you don't have you're not playing their game, right? You're not at that level. So there's there's this kind of gods and monsters energy of just, hey, look, I mean, Nicolas Cage is an envoy from a greater thing. And literally does not give two shits about himself to the point that he mutilates himself to death by table face, which is, probably not the way I would choose to go, personally.
God, I love that movie. Yeah. God, what time is it? I'm going to put it on when we're done.
Just put it on now. We're fine. Well, we got the rest of MouthGarf.
Y'all talk about Nosferatu.
The other movie I watched is Nosferatu, the Robert Eggers A24. It was great. It was fantastic. Here's the thing. I know this story start to finish. So there was nothing about it where I was like, oh, what's going to happen? I was mostly just enthralled with how beautiful it looked, how
stunning,
how really for making a black and white silent film into a color film that is also a talkie, it still carries all that energy. Like the light and shadow in the shots is perfect. The way the shadows function is perfect. The sensuality, the just like general horniness of this is so
horny.
Good. So good. And
like perfectly horny. It's not like we and the audience are not super horny.
No. It's the kind where you're like
horniness on screen.
It's where the horniness is happening, and sometimes as an audience member you're like, huh, and other times you're like,
what?
Like the horniness becomes almost the primary form of horror
Scary.
in the movie.
Really hope
because
that's
there's not
the quote at the bottom of the poster. Perfectly horny.
Yeah. Well, there's not, because it's not a jump scare movie. It's not a boo. It's not really a scary movie. It is a tense, tonal, compelling movie, and everybody's excellent in it. The only person who isn't perfect in it is Aaron Taylor Johnson, who I don't ever fully like in almost anything he's been in, so I wasn't that surprised.
Was he the?
He was
facial.
He
hair?
was the mustachioed friend, and he was very good in the first part of the movie. I felt like he fell off when he had to be emotional and did not play that as well as other people did. But like Nick Holt is great. Lily Rose Depp was great.
How much I love Nick Holt. Yeah. This movie really reminded me. I was like, God damn, I really love this guy and have for a long time.
Oh yeah, he's brilliant, and so is Bill Skarsgård, who is
his prosthetic wiener also did a great job.
All of the prosthetics that he's in, like
there were a lot of prosthetics.
But yeah, fantastic, really, really good movie, really, really well done retelling of this story, and I mean the rats
beautiful
too. So many rats.
Oh, so many rats. Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Crushing it. Love him. Great.
And here's the thing. Willem Dafoe in this, playing a slightly toned down version of his Beetlejuice character to way greater purpose in this movie.
I don't even remember Beetlejuice. I'm gonna be honest. That movie, I guess, fell right out of my brain. Oh, haha! I got it. I remember.
Yeah. He's the former actor, cop procedural guy.
I
who
loved
had
him in
died.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, he's fun in that. He's fun. He's mugging. But yeah, in this he's similarly big, but he's doing.
It's that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Great stuff.
Yeah, that was good. Highly recommend. My news from last week was that I had my IUD taken out, and I just wanted to talk about it on the podcast. Yeah, I'm not trying to get pregnant or anything. We're going to put another one up in there. And I just wanted to mention it because it didn't hurt at all. I did a live reenaction for Nate and Chelsea the last time we recorded, but I want to do it for the listeners as well. Here's how quickly it went. My doctor went, okay, you might feel a bit of a tug, and it's out. That's how quickly it went. No pain. I didn't even bleed. So I just wanted to let everybody know, don't be scared. Because I had heard so many horror stories leading up to it. Like, I have friends who had really bad experiences, but mine was great. Both insertion and exertion?
That's awesome.
Removal. I don't know.
Extraction.
Yeah. Extraction. There we go. So, good news all around.
Yay!
Oh, and I didn't take any notes on what I did since we last recorded. So, Chelsea?
Yeah. So, my rotary cheese grater.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Follow the
I love it so
IUD
much.
with the rotary cheese grater.
Yeah.
Tell me of the rotary cheese grater.
I do that. I usually do a sushi bake, and it takes me forever to shred my crab. Instead, I use the rotary cheese grater. It took me no time at all and did not frustrate me. And usually, like, I went from using a plastic cutting board, but you don't want to use plastic because then you get plastic in your food. And obviously when you're scraping the thing, and then I went to wood, and then the sound of the fork against the wood made me cringe really bad. So the rotary cheese grater was phenomenal. Didn't have to hear anything. Just went through it.
Nice.
And then I made the mac and cheese for Christmas with the rotary cheese grater. And it took me no time at all. When I did it with my own hands, it took forever. So I do recommend if you do great stuff at all.
Yeah.
Or if you want to do smaller
great
versions of stuff you have.
Yeah, if you have grading aspirations.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just realized that the sound on the wood was grating.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're aspiring to greatness.
Yep.
And
no, I was just going to say, let's have 5 more on our desk by the end of the day.
I have no teeth updates, but my medical update is I did get a kidney ultrasound, and it was and bladder ultrasound, just because my doctor was like, let's check them out. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Grossly unremarkable, if I do say so myself.
Hell yeah, congrats.
Thank you. I feel so good. So feeling great about kidney and bladder today.
Yay!
Hell yeah.
I'm glad that you were able to hold it until this point of the podcast to tell us.
I almost told you guys at the beginning, but I was like, keep it down.
Save it.
I'm so excited.
I am trying to get an ultrasound of some of my innards, but apparently insurance will not cover it unless I have a bunch of fucked up periods.
Oh, damn.
Which is why I'm not replacing the IUD yet. So, also, my doctor kept being like, you can get pregnant now. Now you can get, it's out. You can get pregnant. And I understand that.
Yeah.
That's sort of how they
encouraging
work.
you?
Contraception.
Yeah, that was weird.
No, she was definitely fear mongering
gotcha.
to the point that I was like, can you like catch it walking around these days? Like, did something change over the last 8 years? Like,
I mean, a lot has.
Why are we so scared of it now? Like, I understand that. And I also am familiar with the alternative forms of contraception. So she was just like, it can happen. Should we do a pregnancy test today? I was like, we're okay. We're okay.
It's like a classic, like, if we sleep in the same bed together, we can have sex by mistake. Like, is that just gonna happen?
Right. I was like, should I? Like, what are you telling me? Like, should I put in a female condom just preventatively? Like, what
just
are
walking
you
around
saying?
condom, your classic.
That probably means somebody got real mad at her once. Yeah.
Yes, you're probably right. That's like those
I was like, but I just got it out today.
Right.
And like, yeah. I know.
Like residual.
Like, it says expired, but I can still renew this, right?
Whereas before we got mine removed, I was like, okay, sperm can live for like 10 days or something inside you. So like no sperm, minimum 10 days leading up to removal. Like, like I understand that pregnancy is a risk. Don't worry. That's not happening.
You're looking out for squatters.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're not putting up with that. We've got a zero tolerance situation over here.
Can I pivot back to cheese grating briefly?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Because I forgot, but like over the weekend we made some chili because it's been chilly around here, and because it's winter. Fuck it, like fuck you, winter. We're gonna eat hot food now. It's not cold food time. But I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna break out my box grater. I'm gonna shred the remains of this cheddar cheese, this extra sharp cheddar cheese I've got, because I want to make this chili wow. And I did.
It melts so nice.
Yeah.
And it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
Hell
and
yeah.
I even did what any good partner should do if you have a box grater and you use it and your other partner maybe would be responsible for washing the dishes but doesn't like the idea of grating the sponge or their knuckles or whatever, you do it yourself. I went in there, I very carefully, you go against the grain or with the grain of the blades on the inside, you do the whole thing.
Yep.
Great. Wonderful time.
That was really kind of you, Nate.
Yeah.
I try to do little things.
That's what makes it, I'm told.
Yeah. Somebody says that. I'm sure it's true. And that was the MouthGarf Report.
Yay.
Hooray!
I think we should play.
Oh, vagina dentata. Sorry. I'm just thinking about how much I talked about my uterus.
Well, whenever he said he saw another movie with more teeth, I was like, teeth?
Yeah.
Is it teeth?
Yeah, it was like that Tooth Fairy
It would just
movie.
all be. Yeah.
I thought maybe Smile too as well.
Oh, I do. That is on my list now. That's the next thing.
Yo, it's so good.
I got invited to guest on another podcast to talk about 2024 TV comedies. And so I have been binge watching everything TV comedy wise that I can so that I can be on the show and know what I'm talking about. Now, the one that pertains most to teeth would be the final season of What We Do in the Shadows, which I highly recommend if you have watched any of it. The final season is really, really good. And the show is really sweet and cute. And it's got vampires and it's fun and it's lighthearted.
Yeah, I don't think I've watched anything since season 3. I need to.
Yeah, it just keeps getting good. Like, I feel like season 5, I was a little hit or miss on, but it really picks up at the end. And then season 6 is all gold. You know what isn't all gold, though?
What?
It's time to play I See What You Did There.
Yeah, you're right.
Are you telling us that we aren't going to succeed and so we will get silver or bronze
I'm telling
or
you
worse?
this is almost always, I almost always do a bad job, and it's not gold.
You. Nate, it's not you.
It's not you.
It's
it's not you.
No,
it's
us. It's none of us. It's capitalism.
Okay,
it's
fair.
Capitalism.
Yeah, it's capitalism. These are all.
It's true. We would know way more stuff if we didn't have to spend all day working.
Ooh,
we would have the time to consume a bunch of information.
God,
and they wouldn't like that.
You already know a lot.
They don't want us to know more. This is all going to be about trials.
No.
So that'll help.
Tribulations?
Maybe some of these are tribulatory. Number 1. This is the first name of former Buffalo Bills running back actor, and famously acquitted double murderer O.J. Simpson.
Oh.
Going for the O here.
Okay. Good.
And this is a list of individuals, achievements, or other entities, usually chosen by a group of electors.
Or anthology.
You're very close,
right?
but that's not exactly. To mark their excellence in their field. Sometimes it's a building, and sometimes it's not. So what's the building and or entity that contains all of the best of a specific group or focus?
Like a museum?
No. It would be like the best rock and roll musicians have one of these, as do
Hall
the
of
best.
Fame.
Great, put it together.
Oh, Orenthal.
You see what I did there?
My thing was better.
It was really good. Your thing is really good. Look, I didn't say it wasn't. And I see what you did there.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you.
Finally, someone else is seen doing something there. And not just me. All right, number 2. In 399 BCE, this well-known septuagenarian philosopher was tried and put to death in Athens for asking politico-philosophic questions of his students. And with all your dolls and stuffed animals in attendance, you'll want to break out this collection of matching cups, saucers, and a kettle.
Socrates set?
Socrates set.
Yeah,
you
that's
see
cute.
what I did there. I would have also accepted Socrates service.
Oh,
sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had both written down, though, so it was perfect.
Which is funny because isn't what he drank a tea to
I drink what?
complete he drank a tea to die.
Yeah, because it poisoned the
Like
tea.
Yeah. What was it? What did he drink?
Was it arsenic or
Foliant?
Do we
something?
remember?
Oh.
No, it was whatever. It doesn't matter. It was a flower, I think.
Oh, was
Doesn't
it like
matter.
a nightshade?
What's the next one?
Anyway.
It's something. Yeah.
Number 3. The Beach Boys' song, Never Learn Not to Love, is actually a rewrite of Cease to Exist, written by this famously tried and convicted murderer/influencer.
Oh.
And this is a technique that uses sound propagation, usually underwater, to navigate, measure distances, communicate with, or detect objects on or under the surface.
Charles Manson sonar.
Charles Manson sonar. You see what I did there? Very good.
Wait, what was the first clue? How did I not get
It
Charles
was the
Manson?
Beach Boys song.
Yeah, the Beach Boys song.
Oh, I
It's like
forgot.
Besties with Charles Manson night. Wait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
One of
Dennis
them.
Wilson
Yeah.
became friends with Charles
Yeah.
Manson. He was at a bunch of parties with the Beach Boys in the 60s. They were like, hey, actually, you're not very good, but we'll kind of take this song of yours, maybe. And then Charles Manson had Sharon Tate killed. Not directly
Killed all those
related,
people.
but
Yeah.
complicated.
That we know
Although
of.
maybe.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lot of thoughts on Ted Bundy. I've got maybe even more on Charles Manson. I won't go into.
think
We'll have to figure
that's
out
a whole
first in the
episode.
future.
Yeah, we got to figure out. We got to find a first Manson concept. I mean, there's plenty. We can do it.
Also, they didn't stop hanging out with him because he wasn't very good. Because honestly, if you listen to some of the Manson songs,
they're
not
they're
bad.
fine.
Some of them are kind of catchy. But they were very much like, you're weirding people out.
Well,
man.
yeah, because his whole thing was
You're weirding
he was
people out.
bringing like they were inviting him to parties because he was bringing a lot of girls because he was doing that, and they were sleeping with the
Cuties,
girls.
squeaky
and so it was
foam,
this whole thing of
etc..
like, oh, cool, we've got the drugs, you've got the girls, let's hang out. But then he kept getting weirder and talking about race war and things when they'd get high and stuff, and nobody actually likes that. That sucks.
He was just like, come out to the desert and ride dune buggies with us. We're living there now, man. They were like, okay.
Like, no, we ride.
We're into
I don't know if you're
society,
familiar with
though.
I don't know if you're familiar with our catalog, but we ride waves. We're beach boys.
Right, yeah.
Not really a desert
So-
thing. Yeah.
The only sand
Not a
is on the
fit.
beach.
Yeah. We don't want to be as
Yeah.
far from water as possible, to the point where there's literally none.
That's sort of our whole
Yeah, we
thing.
kind of. Number 4.
Antithetical, man.
Number 4. This is Bugs Bunny's most popular catchphrase. And this inventor of the Thanatron was convicted of second-degree murder for his role in the voluntary euthanasia of a man named Thomas Uke, who had Lou Gehrig's disease in 1998.
Chelsea, you got anything?
That's all. No, that's all, folks. That's not Bugs Bunny, right?
That's Porky Pig.
Okay.
No. Quasi Wabbit, that's the other guy.
Okay.
Elmer Fudd. It's not
Bugs
I should have
Bunny
taken
has
a left turn at Albuquerque. That is a common Bugs Bunny phrase, but not the one I'm looking for.
Unfamiliar to me. Now, is he dressed as a woman in this phrase?
No, he's usually holding a carrot like a
Okay.
cigar. He's going to say this phrase. He's going to take a bite of said carrot. Generally speaking, part of the phrase is also the title of a Four Non Blondes song.
What's up, Doc?
Dr.
Kevorkian?
You see what I did there?
Yeah!
You see what I did there? What's up, Dr. Kevorkian?
Nice.
That was an interesting bit of research to go into reading about Kevorkian. It's like, oh, everybody like piled on him because he invented like a really cheap machine that would allow people to die when they wanted to because they were going to anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And we called him Dr. Death. Like it's
Yeah.
Maybe Jack Kevorkian as wronged as Britney Spears in the American 1990s. I'm just going to put that out there.
Did you guys?
I do think wronged. I don't know. I mean, Britney Spears was really wronged, though. And she was a child.
Yeah.
This is a good point.
I don't know.
Not a comparative amount of wrongness, but similarly wronged.
Similarly
don't
wronged.
treat people right.
Didn't somebody recently create a tomb that people can die in, and then the person somebody used it, but then they actually murdered the person?
Oh shit!
Yeah,
what? I
they
didn't
had
hear
the
about
first step in
that.
it, but then they actually checked the body, and it had been like strangled or something.
Oh whoa!
It was strangled.
Something happened. Like they didn't die the way they were
strangles?
supposed to die, so they killed them anyway, or something. It was something messy.
Did you say the first death?
I'm not. Never mind. Google it.
Good question. If it's the first death
in that device, we can do an episode.
Okay, we can do an episode.
And I
but I don't
argue
know
that
if
we
it will
have
be
a responsibility to do one.
I
I'm
agree.
just worried that I have just. This might be one of the rabbit holes that doesn't exist, if I'm being honest. So we'll find out.
I'll go down
This
it.
would not be the first rabbit hole we've gone down, so we don't have to worry about that from a podcast standpoint.
I'll burrow it if it doesn't exist. Don't you fret.
Last one, number five. Number 5. This is a colloquial metaphor or idiom describing a news event for which the level of media coverage, measured by such factors as the number of reporters at the scene and the amount of material broadcast or published, is perceived to be excessive or out of proportion. And this is a hotel and casino located on the northern Las Vegas Strip that features trapeze acts, carnival games, and the Adventure Dome, an indoor amusement park.
Media circus.
You see what I did there? Boom.
Dude, you crushed it
Saw
this week.
everything I was doing. You Minority reported what I was doing.
Gonna be real with you. I didn't drink today, so that might be it. Usually I'm like, I don't know what
and I
I'm
drank more than usual.
You evened it out.
You kicked ass with that. That means it's time to talk dabs.
How many dabs? How many dabs? How many dabs? How many dabs?
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. This is a complicated one. I'm gonna give because our conversation is a 5.
Always.
But
Always.
all of the stuff is inarguably bad. Like
that's
like,
where I'm going to.
like one territory.
I might give it
It's all bad.
I might
Or
give
even
it
a 0?
2, not in terms of TB, but in terms of like not tuberculosis, Ted Bundy.
Both killers.
I mean, I feel
deserve
like,
to be acknowledged.
I guess this goes back to like, should there be cameras allowed in courtrooms? I think that is still kind of like important to have, and for people to have awareness and for things to be transparent. But the Ted Bundy trial was very it's too funny. It does not sound like a good, like, that was not good for America. We should not have done. The monkey trial was probably great. Let's do those all the time.
Great. Yeah.
We'll do that all the time. We can make jokes about that. No one's dead.
Yeah, we could joke around about stuff where nobody was murdered or raped.
Maybe violent crime shouldn't be broadcast because
violent crimes, because
it feeds the sensationalism loop that doesn't do anything good for us. I would think.
But then you're right. We do need the transparency. Yeah. Like, if it's all behind doors, bad stuff is going to happen with that too.
Maybe what we need is like recording in like an instant replay capacity. Like there needs to be footage of and recordings of what goes on. We don't necessarily need to watch it as if it's supposed to be entertainment production. We just need to be able to go, hey, they said this happened, and then someone goes, but I checked the tape and this is not what happened, and clearly there was an injustice. Because I'm very conflicted
it recorded
about
but not
these
broadcasted.
Things. Right, yeah.
But even that, like, already so much evidence is tampered with or fabricated or quote unquote lost. Yeah. Like, the same thing is going to happen there. But I don't know at what I don't know. That's hard. That's above my pay grade, at least. I don't know what you guys are making.
Not enough. Because I guess part of the problem ultimately is that, I'm going to put a wild idea out there. I don't know that our legal system as designed functionally seeks the truth and does so impartially. I know it's a wild idea. We live in the greatest country in the world. Nothing's ever been bad. Any trial that's against somebody you like is a witch hunt, and any trial against somebody you don't like is justice. I know.
Yeah.
But this is the problem, is like all of these, like, part of the reason why like Ted Bundy's relishing being on TV is because he knows what he can do with manipulating an audience, right? He knows, and he believes he can manipulate everybody in the room because he does that. And I think that the problem with the Scopes trial is that these are two orators who are there to, like, they're there for a purpose, but they're also there to make their cases, right? And it turns a little bit more into like an ersatz presidential debate than a real trial. Because they're just talking about their platforms, not really addressing like, hey, well, it's kind of absurd that this law is this and this book is this. And if you were going to pass this law, you should replace all the books first. Yeah, right? Before it goes into effect. Duh. Okay, this guy's not guilty because you gave him the wrong stuff. Like, all of these things went way off the rails in weird ways. So while I respect the need for transparency, it's also just sort of like, well, we need the transparency because the whole system is this weird behind closed doors thing where 12 people aren't held to any sort of actual standard. It's just like, do y'all promise to do the right thing? And it's like, no, nobody fucking promises to do the right thing and actually does it. Our entire society.
Well, we all have a different moral compass, right? Yeah. Like what we all could come down differently on what is the right thing.
And everybody also, because there's a relativity to the way that some of these things are thought about and applied, we go through life having to go like, well, this is technically unethical or immoral or illegal, but it's not actually bad because these circumstances make this not make sense. And all of that is such a fucking rat's nest of bullshit that it makes it impossible to be like, oh, we definitely know that we did justice. Like, you can't know anything with this. You just know that what you did was, well, these people heard from these other people on this day, and they all kind of vaguely agreed a little bit together. And they may have only agreed that there wasn't enough to be sure it wasn't the other way. So they had, like, it's just janky as fuck. So, I don't know.
Is there a better process?
I mean, that's the problem, right? I don't know. I don't know what the better process is. Like, you would have...
We can solve it. Let's do it now.
Great. Okay.
Let's workshop it.
Okay. Let me think.
First functional legal system.
Like, the process is flawed because humans are flawed. Correct. And I don't know how to solve that problem.
I think
AI handles all trials from now on.
Oh, God.
Yo, here's the bad news. That for sure is going to happen.
I know. I think part of the inherent problem, I guess, is that the combination of media and a jury system becomes incongruent as media becomes more everywhere, right? Like how do you find an impartial jury of people in an era where like literally everything that's happening is on TikTok, and if you looked you could see it.
See,
and you're
but
gonna
that's
have an
also what
opinion,
I'm
right?
worried about is that you're gonna get. I was thinking of this and I was like, oh, if you're getting somebody that hasn't seen something that has been happening, then there are people who purposely don't seek out media or news or know exactly what's going on in the world. And that
They're
might,
lower educated.
that would
Right.
likely influence
Or informed, lower
Yeah,
informed.
well, and then and because of the way that information is siloed, people are all dealing with different
versions of the story.
encyclopedias if they are quote unquote informed, right?
Yeah.
So it's that. It's also the fact that the system is still based off of like English and European systems where, oh, well, the judge is the most important person and they'll do whatever. And judges are obviously motivated by things that are political and becoming more political as we all age in ways that they aren't even embarrassed about anymore, which is deeply problematic. I mean, I don't know. I just think like I kind of put the whole idea of the televising and the public production at a 0, and then our episode at a 5, which gives this a 2.5.
So I do want to mention, I don't know if you guys saw, but Ted Bundy's first trial was meant to be in, I might get the cities reversed. It was supposed to be in Tallahassee, where the university is. And during voir dire,
couldn't find anyone.
Every juror was like, he's guilty as shit.
Yeah. They're
and
not
so they
wrong.
had to move it to Orlando. Right. But they had to move it because they couldn't find an impartial jury of peers. So like even before TikTok, before social media, just normal news, people were like, no, that guy did it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like that's not like social media is a lot of problems in the world, but that one's not new.
No, totally. Well, and that's like the highest.
Yeah,
of
I don't know.
profile
I agree.
situations.
2.5.
Yeah. Chelsea, what do you want to go?
I'll go with 2.5.
Okay,
as well.
that's easy.
Yay!
Yeah, I mean, because I don't know, right? Like, yeah, our convo ruled Ted Bundy sucks.
Yeah, I think that's how we got to our
media
answer.
circuses.
I think that's the thing. Is it's sort of, especially with the continuing decline of the world and the ability to have a discourse about anything that matters and solve any actual problems that we're confronting together. I just get more and more like all of this is just bad. Like the combining a system that has no guardrails and has no oversight and doesn't really have any sort of like there's not a rule book, there's not an overview, like there's not whatever. And then you're also going to be like, oh, and the people who will tell you this are telling you this, but they're owned by these billionaires who want what they want. And so the media circusness becomes even more propagandized, I guess. On our next episode, we're going to talk about the first non-consecutive U.S. presidency. Because guess what?
Sorry.
We're going into the second one.
Oh my God.
So
that's going to be a fun one. We're doing real fun stuff lately.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, this could be fun. What bad things happened in the 1800s?
Okay.
Preceding the Civil War.
I can't think of any.
Nothing could be bad.
I don't even
that happened
understand
then.
dates. So.
Just super casual.
Yeah, very chill.
Just a super casual
We're all having fun. There's trains.
I love trains.
Somebody's making the first jeans, or at least thinking about it.
Yes.
Or at least thinking about it.
They're like,
yeah.
man, we should make. What if we make jeans? Well, we don't have the technology yet.
Has anybody thought about using
What?
rivets?
And then they killed that guy because we had to wait another 50 years.
Yeah. Shut up.
So yeah, we'll be back with that. Get ready. It's going to be very exciting. If you like the show, go ahead and give us a rating. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Write whatever you want in the review. Maybe talk to us about how you feel about televised trials. That would be interesting. Or you can bring up maybe a televised trial that had an impact on your life. I think that we've all lived in an era where we probably should have talked about this up top, but like the OJ trial, the Menendez brothers trial, like so many trials were.
You're older than
I
us.
know. I'm 1 million. I should have mentioned that I listened to the Scopes Monkey trial on my Victrola. I did not.
Casey Anthony is the first trial I remember.
Yeah. Oh,
watching.
I mean, that one was wild too, right? Jeez.
Yeah.
She got off, right? She's out in the world.
Oh yeah,
She's
big
out
time.
in the world being
Yeah.
like, I definitely didn't murder my daughter who was in the trunk of my car after I conveniently murdered her.
If I remember correctly, she is currently living with a PI who investigated her case.
See, it's a perfect system. Everybody is above board and doing the right thing at all times. No one can be manipulated. Yeah, write whatever you want. The Apple Podcast reviews. If you want to listen to the music, or if you want to listen to the great works of the musician who did all of our delightful little drops, check out Michael J. O'Connor. That's michaeljoconnor.bandcamp.com. And if you're in California, you probably Google and figure out he's playing dates. It's all over the place. Go see him. He's doing live stuff. If you want to buy some books, oh boy, do I have a thing for you. We publish books. The publishing house is called Spaceboy Books. You can find them at readspaceboy.com. They have paper inside and words on the paper.
That's good.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Weird technology.
Okay.
You thought words went on screens, but what if word was on paper?
It's very innovative.
On paper.
And what if word was on front paper and back paper?
Ooh, that's a lot.
Whoa.
What if we stack front and back paper until words everywhere?
Whoa, that's too many words. I
Let
think.
me blow your mind.
I don't know. I try to be supportive. You've probably got a good idea. And if you miss me and Chelsea in the off weeks of Debut Buddies, you can find us over on Never Show the Monster, a funny movie about a funny podcast about scary movies, including Long Legs.
Hell yeah.
Go listen.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, you guys got to watch all those Pearl and Maxine so we can talk about those sometime.
We do. Yeah.
And I will watch the other thing that you mentioned that has now slipped my mind.
Smile 2?
Smile 2.
I need to watch Smile 1.
Oh, yeah. Watch
And then I can watch Smile 2. I did, however, upon listening to your Smile 2 episode, and yes, hold the groans that I listened to it already, because I do a lot of things while I'm listening. It's more like we're hanging out.
Thank you for supporting us.
It's that we get to spend time together.
Thank you for supporting us.
I spent a lot of time looking up Jack Nicholson Jr. and just being like, yeah, he's... Here's the thing.
He's got Jack Nicholson face.
He's a very he's a handsome
striking.
Man. He's a handsome man. It is a very interesting thing where it's like someone took Jack Nicholson's face and sort of photoshopped it on someone else's head and crunched it down just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like just
he's like a condensed.
Yeah. He's just it's like they put Jack Nicholson's face on a slightly smaller head and squished it down a little bit, but kept the forehead there.
Squarified.
Yeah, there's more square.
He's like squarer.
Yeah, he definitely he's got a Jack Nicholson has more of a teardrop sort of a pointier end to him, and his son's a little squared off. He's got like a broader jaw. But great. I love it. I love the fact that he can do the Nicholson bull stare where you're just like, head down, forehead forward. Great shit. And listeners, this was the show. So thank you for listening. And thank you for taking advantage of this one episode free trial of Debut Buddies. Future episodes will also be free. But
if you want to pay us, you can do that too. We don't want to restrict you.
Email us at debutbuddies@gmail.com. We will provide you with Venmo and Zelle, and you can send us your support at that time. Especially, as we start talking about these non-consecutive U.S. presidents, it's a great time to donate to support the show.
Yeah.
When we get arrested for treason.
Or just for talking, I think. I don't know.
That's what I meant. Our treasonous thoughts.
True. Yeah.
That's now our tagline.
Yeah.
Ooh, Debut Buddies. Treasonous thoughts.
Hell yeah.
Treason buddy.
All right. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Yo-ha.
Yo-ha.
Bye, buddies.
First is best, or first is worst. Either way, let's start.